Well, we're here in the garage tonight. We're working on the bale bed. We're getting it fixed up to kind of where it needs to be. The front brakes are completely gone. I'll show you that here in just a second. It's been neglected for just a little bit, but we're getting her fixed up. I need to get some parts tomorrow. One caliper was good. The other caliper was locked up. That's the reason why that rotor went bad. So I'm gonna replace both rotors, and then my front driver's windshield, it would not roll up all the way. So we're putting a new window motor and a regulator in it. But kind of show you what we got going on here, and you'll get to see a nice little surprise. So we'll see. We need to get it running, but it's my wife's car, not mine, but I need to work on it too. So this is my wife's car, 62 T-Bird. We just need to get it running. It runs, but it needs some ignition deals done to it. Already got the caliper pulled off, put the new rotor on. It's like I said, this pickup's got 350,000 miles on it. Looks like this right here is bushing needs to be replaced, and then the stabilizer for the traction bar needs to be probably replaced. It needs a new tie rod in, and this is the rotor that came off of the passenger side. Plumb fine, no grooves. Honestly, you could slap there's a few grooves back here, you could turn it. But problem is you can't find anybody to turn rotors anymore. But this is the back side of the driver's side rotor. It's gone. Very gone. But yeah, that caliper's locked up. That's the reason why that back brake was dragging. So it ate through that rotor, and then eventually, ate through the caliper. Could rebuild it, but they're like 40 bucks. So just get new. That one's okay, but if I'm gonna do one, I'm gonna do the other. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an old pickup. It's a good pickup. But got the new rotor over here. I'll get new calipers in the morning, and we'll put this back together. Yeah, it always needs work, but it doesn't get driven a lot. And then if you guys are interested, my wife does stained glass work. This is some pieces that she got from a local church, and she's makes custom pieces for people. But also over here, what we're working on the pickup, got the door panel off, and we're going to be replacing this whole deal. Window motor, it should come as a kit. I got to open it up in the box, but that way this is all the further window roll up. And tell you what, when it's 10 degrees outside, you appreciate having your windows up. So we'll keep working on this. You guys follow along. Alright, so we got the old regulator pulled out. It's just 3 10mm bolts on either side, and then you loosen up these here to get your window out. One on either side. Yeah, 3 10mm head bolts, and then it comes out down here. You just slide the new one back in, and then you can kind of see the window right there, and then it'll slide right into that. You just got to loosen up. Let me see. You got to loosen up this bolt here, and then the window will just slide right into that clamp. Same on the other side. Just loosen up that bolt, and then we'll plug the motor back in, and it's just got the old one, the factory one, has the plug right here. The new one has just a pigtail. This is just aftermarket. I got this off of Rock Auto. I seem to buy quite a bit of stuff on there. They're fairly cheap, but the thing is, call your local auto parts guys. A lot of times they'll have it on hand. Sometimes it's kind of hit and miss around here, but a lot of times they're the same price or sometimes cheaper. But call around to your local guys and talk to them. But we're going to finish this up. It won't take me but a second, and then put the panel back on. All right, so we got the new window motor and the regulator put in. It's pretty darn simple. Just all you need is a 7mm to get that screw out, and then of course there's a couple clips, and you'll have to take off this bracket here. This is where you get the bolts for your mirror, and trying to think if there's any other bolts. I'm sure there is, but yeah, then the panel just clips on, and there's a plastic kind of like barrier on there. But hook everything up, and these old Chevy window motors are junk. I've never been around any of them that actually work worth a darn, but we got a new one, so we can actually close our window now. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's taken me about a year to finally just do this. So figured it was in our garage. This is our garage here at our house. I do got it heated. Yeah, it's a pretty simple job. Got any questions, just throw them down there in the comments. Well, putting this little plastic liner back on, probably don't need it, but keep some of the cold air out. And obviously this is a 23-year-old pickup, and all the glue and everything's gone, but it's probably not what you're supposed to use, but it's what I'm using. It seems to work, so we're gonna put a bead all the way around along the edge. Already got the top down, and there's gonna be a panel in front of it anyway, but at least maybe it'll seal for some of the cold air coming in. I'm sure all these door seals are in good shape. They don't let any cold air in. So. Alright, so we're back at it next day. We got the parts to finish up the brakes for the old Balebed. She's got to get put back into service tomorrow. And I've got a very, very good helper. We got Wyatt. What are you doing, Wyatt?
Finding coins in this treasure chest.
Yep, he's been so good all this week. We got him a little treat. You got to dig some gold out of there.
And it ain't real.
No. Nobody gives you real gold for free anymore. But what do you got there?
It's like a little mining deal. You gotta find gold.
Looks like you already got one coin in there.
And I'm trying to get it out.
Well, don't beat up the coin. You might break it. But never mind our mess in here. I've got a pretty nice garage for in town. It's 24 by 40. Nice little upper loft, and I'm not gonna complain. I can actually get my semi in here, which is really handy. We'll be doing that here before too long. It'll probably be after wheat harvest. We'll get the semi in here, and we're gonna do the brakes on it. But I got to get a bigger air compressor. But I got to get all this cleaned up. I mean, it's just, you guys know how it goes. You move into a house and you just kind of collect stuff. So I got to get my bench cleaned off, and there's Clydo. What do you think, Clydo?
Clydo, what do you think?
He's our little pupper. Clyde is only 8 months old, and he is a very good dog. Nice little golden retriever. Well, not little anymore. But we're gonna get finishing up these brakes tonight. Yeah, here's the aftermath. One rotor was good, the other was bad. So replace them both. One caliper was bad, one was good, so replace them both. They're not that expensive, so if you're gonna do one, you might also do the other. But we still got a heck of a power steering leak on this pickup, and I found the line. It's actually yeah, it's this line here, and it goes down there and it's seeping, and you can trace it down there, and it comes up here to the back of the pump here, but it's on the other side, so it's gonna be a bear to replace. It's more or less just, you know, what's that, probably about a 13, 14, maybe a 15 millimeter wrench. Take that off, probably the same on the back, but I think I'm gonna have to take off, this is the pump for the bale bed. I'm gonna have to take that off, and I might have to take off the power steering pump, which is not, it's not a bad job to do, but it's not fun. There's one nut or one bolt there. Yeah, it'd be a bolt that pulls the reservoir on to the pump. It's got a little crevice that it just cradles right into, and if you don't get it just right when you're putting it back on, you're gonna fight it forever. The first time I put a power steering pump on this pickup years ago, I fought it for at least an hour until I figured out there's a little bitty crevice that bolt slides right into, and you got to get it oriented just right in order for it to go in there. And like I said, I'm not a mechanic by any means. I work on my own stuff, and I figure it out as I go on the fly. And I usually figure it out 9 times out of 10. It's very rare that I have to call somebody, but if I have to call somebody, I've just had enough, I've wasted enough time on it, and I'm just gonna call somebody else. But this I'm gonna do myself, because I've already had, this would be the third power steering, well, this is the third power steering pump that I've had on it, that I've put on it in 13 years that I've owned the pickup. The first one, it was bad when I bought it, put it on. The second one, I put a used pump on an engine that I bought that I was trying to build, but I never did. And then, yeah, put this one new on about a year ago when we did the injectors. We had to put injectors, second time we put injectors in this motor. But regardless, this is a nice little project, but we're gonna get the brakes done tonight, that way we can feed tomorrow, and then I'm gonna tackle the power steering, because I'm tired of putting a quart of power steering fluid in this every 2 days. So we're gonna get this figured out, and so just tag along, and if you want to watch it, like, subscribe. But if you don't want to, you're not going to hurt my feelings, but enjoy our pain while we work on this. All right, everybody, so we're putting new brakes on this on our bale bed, and got new rotors, new calipers, and we're just going to kind of show you just real quick on Clyde. You're such a fine puppy. But we got one of the top bolts done here. Come here, buddy. Shine down here. We got top bolt to hold this caliper on. Brake pads are on there. Well, it was on there. But yeah, just a couple bolts here. We'll get it.
He's blocking the camera, kinda.
Yeah, I believe it. He wants to be involved.
Yeah, that's a puppy for you.
Get this thing lined up. The rotor's not set. The rotor's there, but it's obviously not set there. But anyway, we're gonna get this put together, get these bolts started, and then I'll put the brake line back on here, and we'll bleed it. And we have some brakes on here, so just keep tagging along, and we'll kind of halfway show you how to do this. So. All right, thanks everybody. All right, so we got the calipers on. We're getting ready to bleed these front brakes. and I've got the simple DIY brake bleeder system. It's just I forget what size the hose is. It's just slightly bigger than a 3/8 or smaller. I can't remember. Looks like it's smaller. Maybe like 7/32 maybe. But it fits right over the bleeder screw. And it goes right up. And I got her stuck in an old Powerade bottle. But yeah, you want the tube to go all the way to the bottom and fill the bottle just slightly full. That way it covers the tube. That way when you bleed these out and you're pumping the brakes, the air bubbles come out and bleed out in the bottle, and the air doesn't get sucked back into your brake chamber down here. But we just got and you always want to start, obviously, this is your brake booster. And I know on my dad's pickup, he's got a 99 Chevy 3/4 ton, and they've got another, like a brake booster, like right underneath the driver's side floorboard. It's like the ABS controller. And so you got to kind of watch that underneath there when you're bleeding brakes. But you always want to start bleeding the brakes the farthest away from the booster. At least that's what I've always been taught. So like on this pickup, we were doing a full system. We'd start on the back passenger side, the back right tire, and then we'd go to this one, and then we would go to that tire over there on the front passenger, and this would be the last caliper that we would bleed out. But this is our last one, and honestly I probably should bleed the back too, but I gotta have this pickup tomorrow, and it's already I think 8:30 at night. So we're gonna get this one bled out. It's just simple. Have that hooked up. I've got it closed now. I'm gonna pump the heck out of the brakes, fill this chamber up. I'll crack it, let the air come out until there's fluid, close it, go in there and pump it again until she's hard, and then crack it again, let some more air out until I get no air coming out. Sometimes it can take a little bit, like this where the system was opened up for about 24 hours. It takes a little while to bleed these out, so you have no air in the systems, but that's the way I've always done it. It's probably not too standard, but I've always had good luck with it, and it's always worked for me. So if somebody wants, a super mechanic out there wants to tell me how it's done, go right ahead. This is probably still going to be the way that I do it. But kind of give you a quick overview on how it's done, and we're going to get this pickup going and out the shop tonight. That way we can feed cows tomorrow. We did a full front brake service, new rotors, new calipers. It honestly really needs new tires too, but we'll deal with that another day. We'll just keep putting plugs in them. And I mean, it needs some other stuff too. I mean, obviously, look at that pretty thing, and that pretty thing, and that pretty thing. It needs tie rods. I mean, it needs a whole new front end rebuild, except for the ball joints. They were new just a couple years ago, so them are good. They just need greased. Everything needs greased. All right, kind of give you a quick. I just kind of bled them a little bit. I missed it, but we're just loosening up this bleeder valve. We're letting the air out. I'm gonna have to go in and pump these, get the chamber plumb full of brake fluid. And a lot of times when you do this, the brake fluid will come out like almost black. That's because the whole system has fluid in it, and it looks good in your fill port there on the brake booster, but all your fluid stays right down here. And when you're running your brakes all the time, it's gonna get burnt, because your brakes get hot. There's no doubt about that. So all your fluid stays right down here. So a lot of times when you first let it out, that fluid is nasty, and you want to get rid of it. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think it really matters. It's a hydraulic fluid is what it is. I mean, this is just a hydraulic cylinder, essentially, just like on a tractor or anything else. You put pressure to it, and it closes these, and it puts friction onto your rotor, and that's what slows you down. I mean, it probably helps not to have it burnt, but I know there's vehicles out there that have 400,000 miles on them that probably never had an issue. But we're gonna pump these up. I'll kind of show you real quick on this. But all I'm doing is I'm just coming in here and I'm just pumping the brakes until it's hard. And it's already getting pretty hard. Like I said, we already did the passenger side. Yeah, it's already feeling pretty good. Kind of hold it for a second. Let it reset. Yeah, it kind of softened up there. But our whole goal here is just to get all the air out of the system. Because if you have air, you don't have fluid pushing on those pistons to make it stop. So we'll come over here, and I'm sure there's probably going to be a pile of air that comes out. Yeah, see all that? Like I said, this probably isn't the right procedure, but this is the one that I've always used, and it's always worked for me. Because I'm always by myself. I don't have somebody to sit here, and I'm not going to go spend the money on a fancy brake bleeder kit. I know they're cheap, but the old Powerade bottle works too. Yeah, we just sit here until all the air comes out, and yeah, there's quite a bit in there. Probably about 2-3 more times of this and we should have it all out. But yeah, if you want to put something in the comments about how I'm doing it wrong, go right ahead. You're not going to hurt my feelings, because I'm probably still going to do it this way because it's always worked for me. All new shiny rotor, new caliper, both sides, and can you believe it? My favorite tire. It's flat in a day. I gotta clean this bead up. It's leaking right around there. I don't have a tire machine. I use a handyman jack and a skid steer to block it, to pop the bead off.